Hello and welcome. My name's Leanne. I live in Australia and this is my crafty cupboard.
Welcome back everyone. This is my take on Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 4, Treasure Hunt. And the prompt this time was right up my alley, botanical or nature. And so obviously my background fabrics are all floral and everything I've created so far is floral, even the little pin cushion, a little flower. And so I sort of feel like I've really got the floral aspect of it covered, but I am someone who thinks there can never be enough flowers in life. So I'm really, really happy to add some more in here with this. And it fits in beautifully. So last time we did trim, and this is the beaded trim that I put to the lid. And you might remember from when we made the mood boards right at the start of the project that I had this little bag of scraps that I got from secondhand store, and of sort of organza and silk pieces, and also on a recent trip to a thrift shop picked up this rose maker. So I thought, well, perfect, this might help me do a little bit better of a job on turning these pieces into some lovely roses that could go on the top here. You know, not too many, I don't know, we'll see. But I thought, well, let's just try and make some roses and see what happens, and then we'll take it from there. So I haven't used this yet, but basically it's got a slot in the stick and it spins. So I'm figuring you just put your ribbon in there and use that to twist as you go. So first of all, I've got this very rough piece of silk. Let's pop that in there. And then, having learnt from doing my 15-minute a day practice inspired by Jennifer Clouston, you know, I learnt to be loose with the ribbons. So, oops, I shouldn't have let go. All right, so let's just try and be loose. This was not spinning at all well when I got it. The two wooden surfaces were quite rough, so I've just waxed it, given it a bit of a polish. Okay, so this isn't looking super successful. This might be too small a scrap. But anyway, let's get some thread and stitch that down. Probably typical of me, so keen and gung-ho, went straight in. And probably should have gotten some thread ready first. That would have been helpful, huh? That piece is too small. All right, this is on a beading needle, but it's threaded, so let's give it a shot, shall we? Give it a knot. Okay, so I'm guessing I just sort of try and stitch through all the layers at the bottom here so that the thing will stay together when I take it off. This did come with an information sheet, but true to form with me with pieces of paper. Yeah, I tidy up my craft table all the time. I don't like things left out. You know, the creative process is that stuff ends up all over your table. But I do like to tidy it, and every time I tidy it, I don't know where I put the pieces of paper. Note to future Leanne, put a folder or something on the crafty cupboard into which you will place all the paper. Okay, so I've done some sort of stitches around pull those up. Now I'm just going to take some stitches through the bottom. Let's see what we've got. This is exciting. What have we got here? Is this something that looks like a flower? Oh, look, it does somewhat look like a little flower. You know, probably not the best looking flower I've ever seen. But it's got some sort of floral feel. All right, let's just go right through there. And by then I think everything should be fairly well anchored. Okay. Now this is not looking well anchored at all there, is it? Oops. Stopping myself. You know what I should do, actually? I've left the materials from that thrift haul, the fabrics, in a bag to be washed. I wonder if the instruction sheet is there with it. Excuse me a moment. Oh, score. It certainly is. Okay, so it talks about using 2/3 of a metre of ribbon. Oh, it talks about you use florist wire or sew into place with needle and cotton. No, that's the full extent of the instructions. So, yeah. Okay, I was sort of doing that anyway. All right. Okay, I don't like how I caught it down there. That should be left more free, I feel. But anyway. Okay, well, I'm going to leave you with string attached and set you aside. You might be a contender, you know. We welcome all additions. Beauty of this too is, like, if I don't end up liking it or using it, or you just undo the stitches and go again. All right, now let's get some thread and be organised this time. I'm going to thread up some needles. I'll be back. Righto, back. You won't believe it, I've threaded up 6 needles off camera. They just instantly threaded up straight away. I try and thread a needle on camera, it takes 6 goes. Okay, so I've got a really tiny scrap here. I've got no idea if this will work, but let's try it. Okay. It's a start. Righto, let's see what happens. I'm just going to let the fabric go as it wants with its natural twists. Is it? Not sure whether to keep it loose on the bottom or tight around that rod. I see. Well, being tight around the bottom is making it a bit like a bud, which is quite lovely. All right, can we secure it like that? Okay. Just going to fold that bit down on itself. That was very frayed. because it will probably be sitting at the back of the bud anyway, looking at how this is travelling. All right, now to get it off and for hopefully it to stay together. Please stay together, you look lovely. Oh, this is a nerve-wracking process. Well, I don't know who collected these little scraps together and what they're from, but thank you for keeping them. I think they are just lovely. One, two, just give it a little knot. Oh dear. Oh, there. Okay, and I'm just simply going to leave that like that so that it can be attached. Oh yes, this is the thing. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Okay, let's keep going. This is just a very tiny piece of silk. Right, let's stitch you down and see what we get. What I'm doing is essentially like a running stitch along the bottom. This one, I had to be careful to get through all the layers when I take it off, because remember there was the really skinny pieces in the top. I'm just going to pull that up, that running stitch, and then take some stitches right through the centre here. Back through again. All right, let go, be brave. Not overly happy with you either. So one of those things when you do it the first time, you're excited and relaxed and it just works, and then after that you're thinking too hard and trying too hard. Could be. All right, there's some puffiness happening in the centre here, so let's try and stitch that down. Probably should have just cut all those little skinny raggedy bits off at the start, but I thought it might just give a bit of bulk, you know, to the centre for the petals to wrap around. All right. See, in there is something that I'm liking. Okay, so where do we go now? What if we take some stitches through the middle of this bulk and through there, Whoops. Need this piece here to gather up a lot more, so I'm going to do a little running stitch along here. Alright, that's starting to look something like I'm more happy with. That bit needs to get tucked under. And I'd love, like, you know, some beading down in the centre of that. So I'm going to come up at the centre with my thread, ready to do that. Let's just see what happens if we twist. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it crazy like that and stitch. Just realised I'm sticking my tongue out. Did you do that when you're concentrating? Makes me feel like a little kid. I'm sure all the professional rose makers out there are watching me going, oh my goodness. She's making a meal of it. Okay, I feel like I've lost some of my blousiness now, but I think that will still be blousy enough, you know. Sort of envisaging that one as a centre, with these others clustered around. All right, time to be brave and stitch them down. So these are from a broken necklace. Obviously not the pink, but I'm interested in the pearls in the centre, possibly the gold. Also got these and a scattering of other little beads because the elastic that was holding my separated beads container together disintegrated, and now we have some separated beads and lots of random assortment. So side jars with lids are a bit more convenient than these sorts of things. Anyway, let's have some fun. Like, I'm thinking the gold might work well inside these little ones or something. Anyway, I think I should probably stitch down the biggest one first. So that's what I'm sort of going for, like everything off to the edge here, and then keeping, you know, clear of the beautiful beads. Now I've got this balanced like just clipped to the board. It's not glued or anything. So I thought that way I can get my positioning right, but still have a bit of flexibility to stitch. So let's hope my theory works. I might have to release the clips to get a better go at stitching. But I also wanted to make sure that, you know, the material stays flat, like when I did the beading. Probably should have maybe marked out the hexagon and put it all in a hoop or something. That would be my advice if you were starting from scratch and hadn't done this yet. Pop it in a hoop. We're coming up through the... Nope. Now it is. Apologies if you can't see, because my hands are getting in the way. This is something new, so I don't know how to keep my hands out of the way for this one. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll just leave it at that. Maybe secure it a bit more once other things are on. The way it turned out on that side is that it's like another little rose there anyway. Can you see? Might put like a little pretend leaf in there or something. Catch these down a bit more. Whoops, don't lose the beads. How are we going? Yeah, just leave it. Now, I'm not sure if I want a bead in there or no, so let's have a little look. If I pop one in, I sort of feel like that might lose the definition of the flower. Do we want a few loose beads thrown in there for some sparkle? I think a couple of little loose beads in there might be nice, but I will do that at the end. The degree of difficulty on this is very high. I feel so very awkward. Take me back to stitching tiny things any day. Out, come out. It gets caught on all the beads, on the clips. Good. Right, who's next? I think we had the little blue one next. Let's stitch you in. I feel like a curved needle would help in this process, which I own, but that would require me getting up and looking for them instead of just making do. So I'm going to sit and make do. Okay, now would you like a pearl center? I feel like yes. I feel like you would. So I'm going to give you one. Goodness knows where the needles are merging. There's there it is. Do you look cute? I think you look cute. Okay, that's going to stay just like that. Righto, let's stitch you down. This thread is catching itself on every single thing it can. It reminds me of, like, you know, when you're trying to put your toddler in a pram or in the car seat and it doesn't want to go. They brace themselves and go all stiff and you can't get them in the seat. I can laugh about it now, but I'll tell you what, it wasn't so funny all those years ago. Okay, I found this sitting on the edge of the beaded lace piece I have. So I thought maybe it might bring in, you know, tie the two elements together. If we've got this one in here. We don't want to see the string and the hole. You know, so it's just a peep of that colour in there. Now, how do you sit best with your other friends? Like that? I think so. Nestled in there. Are you on? You're on. Is everyone happy? Now, what did we decide with you? What do we think? Do you want to have a pearl? Or is that just too many pearls going on? It's too many. What I can do is release the clips because you're in position now, and that will let me sew more easily. This might just give it a little shimmer or something, you know. I think it's mostly disappearing, but what do we think? Effective enough to continue or waste of time? I'll persevere a little longer. Oh, two for the price of one. Nope, just one, please. Yeah, that just gave it a little something, tamed the rose down a bit because it was a bit wildly high. Okay, that's that element. Put it back on for a minute because we've got this space here. Wow. Look at that. It's very very ornate. Okay, so I've got this space here, and I'm actually just wondering if I want to do some of this sort of stuff. You know, just to sort of bring it. So we've got the sort of, you know, the really high flowers, and then we've got the beading, and then just some delicate sort of fronds happening down here. It's gotten very dark in here, hasn't it? Can you see? I have to tell you the quantity of materials that have been taken out to be used for this project have, well, I was going to say tripled, but it's more like some sort of magic explosion of threads and wools and all over my table. That's okay. I will have as much fun tidying it up and putting it all away as I did getting it all out. Just thought you might like a quick survey of the damage. Just as well I have a whole table to myself here. Oh my goodness me. This has to be the most full-on piece I've ever stitched in my life. I'm usually a very pared back person. Oh, that's really caught up there, hasn't it? Okay, that's now part of the work. I might just get up and turn the light on, see if that helps. Of course, we'll need some green up around here as well to make it make sense. So I've fetched out, this is the most muted green silk ribbon I had. It's part of a beautiful variegated, but I thought, you know, that could possibly work. If not, then I will take it out and just stitch some leaves like I did on this one. Just that series of fly stitches to make a leaf out there. That actually might work better. Once I've done this, I'll see what I think. Yep, loved this prompt of botanicals and nature. Thank you very much. This is something I could really get my teeth into. I'd love to do a bee or a butterfly, like a 3D butterfly perched over here or something. But this is enough to do for now, so who knows, maybe in the future a bee or a butterfly could get added. I got out this, but it doesn't work, it's too gold. It's too blingy. Going to have to let my needle dangle to deal with this. This is not going well. Actually, I think that wool is threaded, isn't it? Yeah, it has. It's threaded and formed a knot. Okay, so what we have to do is cut that off. That's not going to work. I guess that's one of the pitfalls of buying secondhand. Some of the materials are a bit old, a bit more fragile. Never mind. Okay, so I've done those main curves in the Appleton wool. It was actually colour 341. Now, I'm going to try out the silk ribbon for some leaves off to the side here. They need to be quite substantial, so I'm thinking of doing a single lazy daisy. Oh goodness, probably picked a big needle, but struggling. I'll try not to bring half the table with me. Okay. Yeah, because I think just like a single stitch by itself is not going to be enough. So let's see what happens with a lazy daisy. And more. We have got the edge of the box right there, so gosh, it really is struggling. I thought I had a big chenille. Not big enough. Okay. Try and untwist it as it pulls through now. That's better. Make sure it's looped. And be gentle as we go. Like that. That's right to the edge of the box. Oh yeah, I'm happy with that. That's lovely. I might just put another leaf or so and I'll be back. So I'm just doing a series of mostly fly stitches, but also a little feather stitch. Key is to not do too much because you want to put a little bead or something there, you know. I think this one could do with a couple more out here. Okay, so I just took a smattering of the random beads here, and that all ended up mixed up in my container, and popped them down like this. and I actually like the look of that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a random smattering of the coloured beads. I don't want the white or the pinky ones. I can go back. Okay, so might put this here to catch if any fall, because no doubt they will. And let's just stitch those down.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.